Okay. If this is working, then me and Nils... We are live. We are live. How does it look on your side?
Bloody hell. We look completely out of it. I'm bigger than you.
Yeah, I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't get it to work quite right. I'll play the settings later, but ultimately we should both be live right now.
Yeah, we are definitely live.
Okay, let's ask. Can everybody currently on the stream let us know? Can you see both me and Nosy at the moment, and can you hear us okay? I've no.
Completely. You know what?
Yeah, I think people can see us. If people, I think everybody can see us and hear us okay, both at the same time. I think, because this is the first time trying this. They can.
Yeah, they can hear us.
Fantastic.
I apologise as well for the lapsy, weird arrangement. Blame that on Sam, because for some reason he thought it was a good idea for me to be bigger than him. But yeah, that is true. I am bigger than him. Yep, you're both on and can hear fine. Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Gary.
Thank you. Right, everybody, so this is sort of a test, really, to see if we could get both me and Nosy together on a live stream. It looks like it's worked. I appreciate that it may look a little bit weird on the video side of things, but, well, we will work on it. Ultimately, this is really just a test of a live stream to see if we can get each other on. It looks like it's working. So, yeah, we'll hang around.
Out the chat, by the way, as well, so that, you know, keep an eye on what people say.
Yeah, so we'll hang around for like an hour or something, just to, you know, have a chat. And then we'll arrange something a bit better ahead of time, next time. But, yeah, ultimately, this is a test, really, to see if we can get ourselves on a dual live stream, if you will. So, how is everybody anyway? How is everybody out there? Is everybody quite excited with all the new information we've got, especially concerning the G5 voice actors? I am myself quite interested in them. I also just want to confirm for everybody, I am 99% sure that the trailer will be released 3 weeks on Saturday, the 24th of July, which would be exactly 2 months before the film is released. So we should be 2 months away from the actual trailer.
Yeah, because I sent you, didn't I, on I sent you saying that there's going to be a Hasbro Pulse event, which I'm kind of thinking that obviously San Diego Comic Con is this month at some point, I think within the next week or so, but there's going to be a Hasbro Pulse event, so I'm wondering if either we'll get the trailer reveal via Hasbro Pulse, or if it's going to be a, you know, or if it's going to be, I don't know, through San Diego Comic Con. But yeah, I found out that there is a Hasbro Pulse event still actually happening as well, so this year.
Hello to Alpha Swell 2, who's just joined us. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, with what you're saying, Nosy, when is the Hasbro Pulse event, out of interest? Can't remember the date off the top of my head. Let
me just check.
Because it's either going to be the Hasbro Pulse event or it will be Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con. Like I said, it's anywhere in the next 3 weeks that we'll get the trailer.
Huh. It already happened, but I'm sure somebody said that there's going to be another one. It's already done.
Well, we didn't get. Well, that was it. It must be Hasbro Comic Con then, mate.
Yeah, it was on the 1st of July, literally yesterday, that it happened. So I think whatever we found out through that was mostly toys.
Yeah, it was. Alpha Swell 2 asked, what was your reaction when you thought that Galaxy Land was going to have a Hasbro theme? I was interested. I'll give it that. It was, yeah, I think it was going to be interesting. Hasbro are definitely a major player. It would have been interesting. Only downside is half the things at the moment just aren't working out as we'd like them to. But I mean, just on the side of finally knowing who the voice actors are, I'll have to go back and look at it. But I'm fairly certain the that video I did some months ago, where we were talking about the apparent leaks that apparently were telling us who the voice actors were, fairly certain all that information was completely wrong. I had to double check that video just to confirm it, because I'm fairly certain that none of the information provided was accurate.
Just FYI, Sam, there is a little bit of lag, lip sync issues on your side.
I noticed. It's because I'm probably using the headset. That's probably why.
Yeah. Anyway, like I said, this is just a test, obviously. But I mean, with this being a test, I mean, how long did you want to go for?
Let's just do.
Like I say, it's a little because it's going to be a little bit jarring if we go for about 2 or 3 hours.
No, it won't go that long. Let's just say an hour.
Okay.
We'll just do an hour, mate, and then, as I say, after that we can spend a few days trying to sort this software out properly.
Yeah, because like I say, I mean, when I was saying before we finally got live, like I was saying, there is a way that you can kind of like do like a proper grid section, so you can kind of tailor it more. But there's also kind of like make sure like I'm on the left and you're on the right, and we're both about the same size. So, but yeah, we'll work it out.
Yeah, we will. As for Alpha Squad States, obviously I looked at the video on the Equestria Daily. There was only MLP6, and the MLP section just had 2 rads. And Galaxy Land is asking people what names they can name the rads. Well, unfortunately, that is only a small section. It would be nice to have a larger section, but hell, it's a start at least. It named the first one Rainbow Drop. Nice name. A very good pony name, actually. But yeah, we'll see what that brings in the future. On the grounds of G5, there's actually been some more information released. Has anybody heard about the sort of rumours going around that have more or less been confirmed? Even though, yes, this is just a toy, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen in the film, because similar toys of the main 6 were released and none of it happened. But there's actually been a toy release that has Sunny, the G5 character, as an alicorn. So I'm kind of curious, is Sunny going to become an alicorn near the end of the film, or is this just effectively another bit of merchandise? Because Nosey, I don't know if you remember, about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, Build-A-Bear had a rarity in an Applejack alicorn limited that they released, and there was loads of debate for quite a while as to whether or not, you know, that was going to be like the finale for the series, that they'd all become alicorns. But obviously it was just a limited edition release. So obviously at the moment it isn't known whether or not Sunny will become an alicorn, or if it's just, you know, a limited edition figure release.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that when they did like special Build-A-Bears and that. I mean, like I say, I mean, the thing is, I mean, with her being an Earth pony, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with Earth ponies, because originally, I believe, you know, obviously like Fluttershy and all them lot, they were Earth ponies and all that, but it'd be interesting with her being the main. Obviously, she's the main character. She's been plugged as the main character of Gen 5, Sunny, and I mean, end of the day, I mean, would it be a good thing that she becomes an alicorn if that does happen? Because that kind of seems like they're going to go down the Twilight Sparkle route. Potentially.
I mean, at the moment, I think we could probably say there aren't any alicorns left in G5 Equestria. if that's the case, then Sunny could be the first one for over a generation, and she could be the start of a whole new Alucorn rulership, if you will. I know at the moment there's a lot of people are really hoping that maybe we will get the main six appearing in G5 in some fashion outside of being, collectible figures and storage and things. I mean, the big thing for me is we've always assumed the Alucorns are immortal because, Celestia and Luna are at least 1,000 years old. So, hypothetically, yeah, maybe they are still around. Part of the mystery is what we're waiting to see. Swell 2, when I saw people who were going to be voicing the main five, I realised someone named James Marsden who was going to be playing Hitch Trailblazer. Yeah. Yep. I think the voice cast announcement has surprised a lot of people. It's got a lot of well-known actors in there, really a lot of well-known names. Also a few actors who have got quite a bit of voice acting experience. So ultimately, I think they've definitely got a good cast. It's going to be a interesting cast.
Yeah, they do have a good cast. I mean, when I saw that, I mean, I recognised Vanessa Hudgens because Vanessa Hudgens, she got fame through. Well, obviously she is a singer as well, but she's also been in some films. But her fame came from a thing called High School Musical. Yeah,
she was from there. Yeah.
Yeah, so she played. Her name was Isabella, I believe, if I remember. But yeah. So I mean, to be honest with you, I think Vanessa Hudgens is a good fit. I mean, I don't remember her doing any voicing roles. She maybe has done some voice work in the past, but listening in that little video that they did of all of the cast, kind of just a little bit of them voicing those characters, I generally think she does sound a good fit for Sunny, and especially Izzy. I've forgotten the person who's voicing Izzy, but I'm getting a strong Pinkie Pie vibe from her.
Yeah, I agree on that completely.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, when the character designs was announced, I gravitated towards Izzy straight away, because it's just something about Izzy, just the way that she looks, and I was just like, I kind of like her look. I mean, once the film comes out, my fave Gen 5 pony probably might change, because it depends what the other ones are going to be like. Because obviously, Zip, I believe it is, who's the one that can't fly, not legit. The one that looks a little bit like Rainbow Dash. I'm kind of thinking that maybe she might become my favourite. I don't know, because she kind of reminds me of Rainbow Dash.
I think that's the point behind the character. Ultimately, I think if you sort of look at the characters, the main five at least, they are definitely trying to an extent, emulate the main six. You do get. I definitely get Twilight vibes from Sunny. Obviously, Izzy has very Pinkie Pie vibes. Zip's definitely Rainbow Dash. So, there's definitely main six. Sort of. What's the word I'm trying to think of now? They've been. I forget the word. It'll come to me. Zafra Swell 2 said Vanessa Hudgens High School Musical. So I think in a lot of ways, some of the cast that they've got, they have them because they're going to be able to do the singing roles as well. The question is, will the voice cast carry on over to the G5 series, which is obviously going to be next year? That's the big question.
That would be interesting, because there's a couple of big names in there. Obviously, Vanessa Hudgens is quite a big name, and then James Marsden is probably the biggest name out of the cast, because he's been in a lot of stuff. I believe he also played. I believe he was the original actor that played Cyclops in the live-action X-Men films. So it's kind of like he's got a pretty high profile. But the thing is with Netflix is, even Hasbro did. Hasbro had enough money to bring back the actors that played Tempest and so on in the 2017 film. They had the money to easily bring back those guys for up to if there was going to bring them back in some shape or form. They had the money to do that, but with Netflix, I generally think they will possibly bring back the cast from the movie to the follow-on series, because even though they are pretty big actors and they're good. Also, some of them can sing as well. I mean, like Phil Lamar's a voice actor anyway. I mean, he's probably one of the A-list voice actors. I mean, Phil Lamar, he's playing a character, and obviously, if those in the chat who don't know who Phil Lamar is, he played. He's known for voicing Samurai Jack in Samurai Jack, and he's also known for his role in Futurama. He is a big-time A-list voice actor, so I can see Phil Lamar possibly reprising his role if that role still carries on past the movie. We don't know.
Just agreeing. I don't know, John. Quick question, mate. Can you actually see the live chat?
Yes.
Right. Just didn't know if you could. But yeah, just agree with Gary P. Voice actors for G5 are famous enough to be good, but cheap enough to be in the series. They're a good fit for the ponies. I'm excited for G5 right now. Yeah. As you were saying, John, as Gary P has stated, they shouldn't be too much of a problem to keep for the series. Ultimately, as Darren has just stated, 25th of September, we now have confirmed date. I mean, originally it was sort of rumoured to be September 24th or 25th, but as we now know, it is September 25th. 100% confirmed. So, yeah, we have a date now, which is the main thing. As for the trailer, I know I keep saying this, but I am 99% sure the trailer will be out in 3 weeks' time, the 24th, the 25th of July, because that will be 2 months before the film. So we should have one in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, we should. I mean, I'm getting pretty excited. I mean, I was quite open-minded about it and interested in it like long before we got a lot of the information we already have had. I mean, like I said, there was before we started talking about it, there was very little conversation, but there was still a lot of interest regarding it. But a lot of these big MLP channels just weren't really talking much about it, except for maybe one or two. So to be honest with you, I was kind of interested and also a little bit concerned because of the lack of information shared about it at the time. But now that we've got this information, we know who's playing the characters. We now know a little bit more of a background of these characters, like what their personalities are like and what they are, in themselves. So I'm really kind of interested. I mean, like Gary P was saying there, like he's excited for it now. I mean, I'm getting very excited for it. I generally think the voice actors they've got are a good fit as well. I mean, especially Kimiko Glenn, who plays Izzy. Thanks to Alpha Swell for confirming that for me. Apparently, she was in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think she must have played the young lass. That was the Japanese one. So yeah, I mean, I'm very much excited for this. I mean, James Marsden's a good actor. I mean, he was in Sonic the Hedgehog live action as well. So people will know him from that. So they've definitely got very good family-esque voice actors that are like family-friendly actors. So it's kind of like, and they are good, and I think they're like Gary P was saying, I think they are cheap enough for them to carry on in the series as well. But you don't know. I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen. It depends on obligation through whatever else they're working on as well. But I can't see there being a problem for Netflix to finally, bring them back past the movie. But we'll just wait and see. I mean, there are some really good voice actors out there that are good at trying to kind of copy, if you will, try and kind of get their likeness down. So we're just waiting to see if that actually happens. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Penny Parker, that's right, Alpha Swell, thank you. Yeah, Penny Parker was the one that Kimiko Glenn played. But yeah, I mean, I thought I recognised the voice actually. When she spoke, I was like, I've heard her somewhere before. Where have I heard her before? So that's where I've heard her.
Darwin Thomas, in response to your question, when will the trailer be in July? I am basically, at the moment, I am more or less assuming it has to be July because it's literally 2 months before the film. My theory is the trailer will be revealed on the 24th or 25th of July, which is in 3 weeks. That basically, that schedules with San Diego Comic Con's virtual event. And I think they will release it the 24th or 25th, so basically 3 weeks basically from tomorrow, because that will then match up 2 months before the film's released. So if that does happen, then we will get the trailer in 3 weeks' time, and when that happens, we will have the mother load of live streams on this channel because we will talk about that for hours.
Yeah, definitely will. I mean, like I say, I mean, what's going to be interesting is that I generally do think.
Hello, Silver Comet. Good to see you again.
Hello, Silver Comet. Yeah, so I generally think that there is I mean, they have to release a trailer regardless. I mean, they have kind of done little teasers here and there, kind of introducing us to the characters with that little GIF that they did, and then obviously they've now released the voice actor video, which essentially gives you a little clip of them, the actors playing the character. So I generally think San Diego Comic Con is the best shout because San Diego Comic Con is going to be a virtual event again, and I generally think that is what's going to happen. I generally think that San Diego Comic Con, with the big reach that it's got, I think that's probably the nearest best bet that we're going to get a possible release. I mean, by all means, that might be wrong. I mean, they might release it regardless of San Diego Comic Con, but I generally think that's the best show at the moment.
As for Nico asking, what are your thoughts on the official announcement for the G5 cast? I like it. I am quite excited to see the cast in full swing for the film. I think they will definitely provide a really good voice cast for the new generation of ponies. And I can definitely see where Hasbro are going with them because some of the actors they've got lined up, as you say, they're well known from Disney. So ultimately, they're aiming for them to be sort of gain traction and attention, not just through the Brony fan base, but through potential other people who might be fan of said actors' work. But yeah, I generally think they've done a good job. I think they will provide us with some really good personalities. Silver Comet, there was a leak on 4chan 1 month ago mentioning things now revealed. He also said that Netflix had scheduled a standard teaser for July with a proper trailer for late August. Interesting. I mean, okay, a teaser would be fine, but I mean, if they were going to leave, then again, saying that, having a full theatrical trailer in late August would sort of make sense because that would be effectively 1 month before the film's release. But I'd be happy with a teaser, just something to give us at least an insight into what's going on, what the characters sound like, a bit of the backstory, just so we know what we're kind of going to be looking at when it gets released.
Yeah. Yeah, that does make sense. Personally, that does actually make sense, that getting a full-on trailer in August, because it works perfect between the full trailer to film being streamed. Silver Comet came back because of the way the movie is post-processed. There are no fully finished scenes to construct from the movie trailer. It has to be specific for the publicity. It may not look the same, right? Now, I would have thought that would have kind of the animation side of it would have been practically finished by now, because Obviously, the movie's been in production. I believe it's been in production since probably a year after the 2017 film. The animation side is usually done. The process for that is usually done after the voice actors have done their bit, because obviously they do the storyboarding first, and then they kind of work from the script and storyboarding processes first, and then the voice acting's usually done via the storyboards, and then obviously the full on process of the animation's done. I'm actually quite surprised. I generally thought, with what Silver Comet said there, I generally thought that the animation would have been done already, but interesting. But that makes sense, though, to give it a little bit more time so we can get a full trailer to make sure that the full polished look is done.
I mean, just a comment on Darwin Thomas review there. Who will be Sonny Starscout's mum? Good question. At the moment, as far as I'm aware, there's no character listed or showing as Sonny's mother. It's possible her mother's no longer around and it's just her and her dad, or they may not have revealed her mother yet. They may be keeping her a bit of a secret.
Yeah, they seem to be plugging her father more.
Yes.
Her father is actually, he kind of is in a lot of the merch. He's mentioned in a lot of the stuff and books and things that they're releasing. So I think what's going to happen is I think it's going to be that it's just Sonny and her dad. Maybe something bad has happened. I think they're kind of doing the whole thing with like what Pixar do and Disney, where like the main character either has just the mother or lives with their aunt or lives with someone else, and it's kind of like that Disney-esque kind of thing where it's just like one parent for some or guardian or whatever.
I'm making a guess with Silver Comet that I'm assuming you must either work in or have some knowledge of animation, because I don't quite know what to look for. I mean, I am assuming that the animation clips that we've seen within the voice actor reveal are very likely early renders, perhaps that aren't fully finished, or perhaps for maybe prototype testing. But I mean, I don't quite know what to look for. As for Darwin, would Twilight come back? We don't know. Possibly. It'd be interesting to see Twilight come back. I'd be hopeful she does, but it's a bit too early to really guess. But again, certain voice actors are being really tight-lipped at the moment as to whether or not they'll appear in the G5 film.
Yeah. Nico, for a tiny and relative new animation studio, I gotta say, from what I saw in the announcement video, Boulder did a pretty good job in making the movie look like something from Disney. Yeah, they did. I mean, Boulder Media. I've heard of them because obviously they've worked on Transformers stuff in the past as well, and obviously they picked up from DHX Media to follow up with the rest of the Equestria Girl stuff and the latter end of G4. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of I mean, their animation process is pretty good. I mean, they have done a really good job with this film. From the animation standpoint, it looks gorgeous. I mean, like what Silver Comet says, that it's like super prototype scenes that they've shown in snippets at the moment, but yeah, I mean, I think once it's fully polished and finalised, I think it's going to look absolutely beautiful. And it does look like it's something Pixar or Disney would do.
Yeah, it's definitely got a modern feel to it. And in response to Darwin's question, is Queen Haven a villain? I will say potentially yes, because I get the feeling that the Pegasi are sort of maybe the dominant faction, if you will, within this new Equestria, that they're the dominant sort of ponies.
Yeah.
But I could say it's too early to tell, but I haven't. Yeah, I could say she could well end up being some sort of villain character, in some way.
Silver comment: I cannot confirm that Argyle, the lawkeeper, was inspired on his daughter Cutie Mark in the comic. It's a comic. I don't know. I mean, like I say, a lot of the characters they've announced I'm not quite sure where they stand as characters, but I mean, I generally think that the Queen character, I do get a little bit of an essence of her, that just the way that she looks and her smile kind of looks a little bit devious. I mean, I might be looking at it wrong, but I get a bit of deviancy from her. And I generally think the amount of change that has happened between the end of Gen 4 and the beginning of Gen 5 of the movie, I generally think there has to be some sort of involvement from royalty, or some sort of something has caused this in order for it to be kind of like illegal to, or no longer allowed to use magic except for certain people, certain ones that are maybe in the higher order of things. But I don't know.
Just with Nico pointing out that Queen Haven could be Pip and Zip's mum, I think she is. I'm 90% sure she is their mother, because that just seems to make sense to me. That she's their mum. It just makes sense. It's interesting how, I mean, I would say Sonny's father is possibly, as Silver Comet has said, a lawkeeper. So ultimately, I mean, they could be living in something that's maybe like a museum, perhaps, that's dedicated to the main six and like their stories and all the memories and the past events of Equestria. So ultimately, the whole story could literally start from there. Like, because again, there's a lot of speculation that she has a copy of, or the original Twilight Journal, Friendship Journal. So ultimately, there's a lot of theories about Sonny's connection to the main six. But I get the feeling that the history of Equestria, the main six's deeds and what they did in G4 in the series, in the story, will be mentioned a lot in G5. It will play a main role in the background for the story.
Yeah, what like Nico says there, that Queen Haven, she actually could be Pip and Zip's mum. That is most likely a possibility. I mean, like I say, they would have to have a mother or a father as well. And obviously, with one of them is actually a princess, which has been confirmed. So it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, once we get some sort of a trailer, then we can kind of put things together a little bit. But I mean, I'm certainly looking forward to it. I'm certainly looking forward to this film. I'm looking forward to how these characters interact with one another. But all I can say is, do they know what they've got themselves into? Because now they're part of the Brony phenomenon, and will they possibly get approached for future conventions to become guests? I mean, it'd be interesting to meet Vanessa Hudgens in person, and it'd be interesting for James Marston and Phil Lamar to finally probably go to a convention. He's most likely a possibility now, because he's such a big voice actor. But I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. But I'm just hoping they understand that, Ashley Ball and Tara Strong and everyone else for Gen 4, they didn't really understand. They heard about the Brony fan base, but they didn't know how insane and how passionate they were. So it was kind of like when they finally got invited to their first MLP conventions, I don't know if anybody's seen the documentary that Ashley Ball did, and it was basically following her very first guest appearance at one of the conventions in America. And basically she was kind of talking about her involvement and her day-to-day kind of thing of her, going to the studio to voice for Spraybird Dash and Applejack and so on and so forth. And then she kind of it was kind of an interesting documentary. And then when she she was at the convention, and she met all these fans. She literally could not she just couldn't believe it. She was just like an out of body experience for her. And so basically, I'm kind of like wondering, do these new actors know what they've got themselves into? And I'm just like, I hope you've got yourself poised, I think you're all poised and waiting and ready for the madness.
We'll see, right. Silver Comet states it depends. If they stay, it depends. Obviously, it depends on the TV show. Obviously, as he says, Lamar is movie only. He is as expensive as John Delancey. Yeah, it could well fall down to that. I don't know if they'll have. It's quite possible that some of the actors in this are only going to be playing movie exclusive characters. Obviously, like the main five will be back. Obviously, hopefully voiced by the same people. But I think there are some movie exclusive characters there that'll only be in the movie. Much like how Tempest Shadow has only appeared in the film, in the 2017 movie. Obviously with the exception of showing up very briefly in the background in like the second to last episode of MLP, but apart from that, she's a movie character only. And yes, Gary P, we are a great fandom and they do have nothing to fear. And and hopefully they understand that and they'll be able to accept how big it's going to be.
Yep, like I say, I mean, they're probably well aware, because obviously MLP as a franchise is really well known through generations of kids since about 82, 83 when it first started as a toy line. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of yeah, the Brony and Pegasus the fandoms are really good. I generally think that they will be welcomed with open arms if they ever get if they ever come to a convention. I mean, like I said, this is a new start, a new generation, a new slate, a new series, a new franchise. Hopefully, if it doesn't get cancelled after the movie, but hopefully that will happen. But yeah, it just really depends of how well received this film is, and then hopefully they might pick it up for at least a couple of seasons afterwards.
Yes. Still Comic pointed out, Zipstorm's voice actor is a famous YouTuber. This is usually a problem. I'll be honest, I've heard of her because I don't really follow the YouTube scene that much, so half of the famous YouTubers I have no idea who they are. I would assume that she's done some voice work, or she's just did a good audition. Because the thing with sort of famous YouTubers, it's like 99% of people have never heard of them. You know, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Just simply saying I never heard of her, so I really don't know anything about her.
Yeah, Kamiko Glenn is Silver Comet says Kamiko is most likely to stay as the voice as Izzy Moonborough. Yeah, I mean that most likely is the possibility. I mean, like I say, I mean, her voice just really matches Izzy's personality really well. Same with Vanessa Hudgens as Sonny. I mean, James Marston, it depends of how well he does, but I mean, like I say, I mean, generally from what we saw from the clips, I generally think they've done a good job. I mean, yes, the whole idea of a famous YouTuber for Zipstorm voicing that character, yeah, I can kind of see that where that's a problem, because end of the day, you don't know the background of this person, whether she's just one of these upcoming starlets that happen to have a really good fan base and millions of subscribers or whatever, that have just been handed the role. I don't think that will be the case. I don't think she would have been handed the role. I generally think she would have to audition. I mean, I'm going to definitely look into the backgrounds of these actors, except for the ones that I already know of. I want to kind of just get a bit of information on them, because I don't recognise all the names that are voicing the characters. So let's just see if we can get a bit of a history of some of them, so I know if they've done voice roles in the past, what their backgrounds are.
Let's see if I can find out.
Silver Comet says, unless they know in advance that this was a one-shot, for her, not asked to come back for the series. Who knows? Nico, what are your thoughts on Hasbro hiring an actual YouTuber to voice Zip? P.S. Lizzie Koshy is pretty big here on YouTube. I've never actually heard of her before, so I really can't say about how her talent or anything. I can't say how talented she is. I'm definitely going to look her up and see what she's like, but I mean, the fact that it's a YouTuber that's been given that role, and I generally think that, you know, maybe that's a cost-cutting thing more than anything. Maybe because they've obviously spent a lot of money with casting Phil Lamar and Vanessa Hudgens and James Marsden, which would have probably been 3 of the most expensive actors to get for the voicing of the movie. But to be honest, as long as she does a good job, and as long as she does a good job and she voices that character well and gets the essence of Zip's essence right, then I don't have a problem. As long as she does a good job, I don't have a problem with that. Silver Comet. I have to point out that we have not heard Sonny Starscout say anything alone. The normal voice of her VA can be quite different. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Just on a side note, mate, Lizzie Koshy, just having a look into her here. She's a little bit more than a YouTube star. She's done some professional acting. She's been in 6 films, and she's done quite a bit of television work in the last 4 or 5 years. She also runs an actual YouTube sort of series called Escape the Night. So she's definitely got professional stuff to her name. So she's not just like a YouTuber. She's someone who's done a lot of professional work.
Right, okay then. So that's fine then. I mean, I'm definitely I might check her out probably after we've done the stream and just see what her stuff's like. But I mean, obviously she's got a background in acting, so I honestly can't see a problem with her voice in the role as long as she does a good job and executes it well. That's all I care about. Really.
I mean, Nico states, I think it's interesting how even though it's an Irish movie, all the actors in G5, at least the ones we know of, are American. I mean, they will be largely because obviously Hasbro being an American company, they would have had a big say in who gets picked as the voice actors. So ultimately, most of the cast would be American, at least because it's an American company.
It would have been interesting if they kind of been a bit more diverse, like if they got like someone like Simon Pegg, for instance, to like voice one of these side characters, or who's obviously an English actor, or you know, kind of like you don't know. I mean, you don't know all the. I mean, all we know is the ones that they've kind of announced so far. We don't know if there's going to be some like surprise collaborations in there, so they might maybe get like Simon Pegg, or they might get maybe, I don't know, Nick Frost, or they might get some sort of comedic kind of actor who's English, or they might get someone else who's possibly an Irish or English actor. Like, I don't know. I mean, like I say, I mean, it would have been nice to have a bit of a diversity to the cast, with it being an Irish company that is animating the film. But like I say, Netflix and Hasbro are both American companies, so they will have the most say of who gets accepted for the voice roles. But the thing with Netflix is they are quite diverse with voice actors, and they are in actors in general. So a lot of their stuff that when it comes to Netflix, like live action or whatever, they are pretty diverse with like people of race and sexuality and all that. So it's kind of like when it comes to like English and American and Canadian, they are pretty open to a wide spectrum. So I think this decision will probably come from Hasbro to keep it more American.
Nico states, imagine if Mark Hamill surprised the world as the movie's official villain. Yeah, that'd actually be pretty awesome if Mark Hamill ended up voicing a pony.
Well, if that's the case,
it'd give us more reason to tell him how awesome he is.
I mean, that would be interesting if Mark Hamill is in this, because, like I say, I mean, if they did get Mark Hamill, he would probably be the most expensive actor out the whole lot, because he's literally A-lister He's up there with like Peter Cullen, Frank Welker. So he's like right up there with it.
I mean, ultimately, I just think we are going to have to all be very patient. Because I know that within the fan base, within the Brony community, I know a lot of people are starting to become a little bit impatient now and want the trailer. It's
like us.
Yeah, it will appear. It will appear. I'm fairly certain in about 3 weeks, San Diego Comic Con virtual event, I'm fairly certain we will get some sort of trailer for G5. Then finally we'll know what all the characters sound like, we'll know a bit about the story, a bit about the world, and we'll have a hell of a lot to talk about on here.
Yeah, well, like I said, we do have to be a little bit patient with it, but at the same time I can understand where, from the standpoint of people, why they are a little bit impatient, because for the longest time, all this information was coming out, like the reveals of the characters, and all this information was coming out long before they even announced any voice actors who's playing the characters. The only names we saw connected to the movie was the person directing it and producing it, and that Imalu was working as a character designer who was a part of the fan base as an artist. So it's kind of like they were the only names that was really known that was connected to the film. But yeah, it's taken this long, with about 2 or 3 months before the film's supposed to stream, that we're getting this information. So I can understand where people's annoyance comes from. But we do need to be, a little bit mindful. They're obviously doing it on purpose because they don't want any possible leaks to happen because of what happened back in 2017.
And yes, Nick, I agree. Philly Sonny with the cardboard wings and the little main 6 toys is very, very cute. I love Philly Sonny is cute. I mean, I thought like young adult Sonny was cute, but yeah, Philly Sonny is even cuter. I agree on that.
Yeah, that was cute. So it's kind of interesting. I'm kind of wondering how the film's going to start. I think the film's probably going to start as her as a filly.
Yeah, with her dad telling her about the main 6.
Yeah, I generally think I think maybe the first 10 minutes of the film's probably going to be her as a babe, as a young kid, and her dad being raised by her dad. Maybe she does have a mother, I don't know, but they seem to be really plugging her dad more than anything. And makes me interested of that he has quite a bit of knowledge, so maybe obviously he comes from a time where he still remembers some of the characters from Gen 4 that were alive when he was young. I don't know. I mean, maybe he's just read text. Maybe he's had some sort of a journal that he's given her as a present or something, and she's been reading it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I generally think that there is going to be a massive G4 main 6 connection in this film. I mean, from what we already know, but I think there'll be an even bigger connection. Some sort of something they're going to keep hidden that they don't want us to know about.
I generally think there will be a big Gen 4 presence in there. So I don't think it's going to be like big to the point where they're going to bring back all the characters that we know. Obviously, it depends of how far ahead in the future it's going to be set. But the thing is, I generally think that the way that Hasbro are marketing the toys, yes, the toys sometimes aren't usually canon. They sometimes are deliberately misleading to kind of keep you off the point. But from looking at some of these toys that they're releasing, like I sent you a couple of pictures over Messenger. I don't know if you saw them, Sam, of that little assortment of little minifigures. And it had like G5 artwork on the box.
Yes.
It was Gen 4 ponies inside the assortment. So I'm kind of like thinking that they are really pushing the Gen 4 Gen 5 collaboration there. So who knows?
Just on top of Silver Comet stating, obviously she's royal. Zipstorm states she's royal princess, doesn't like to wear the crown, and uses a skateboard because she can't fly. Yeah, what interested me was that sort of reveal that the Pegasi in this don't have the ability to fly. So we could definitely say that the magic of Equestria isn't just the magic of the unicorns. It's potentially affected everything. And the unicorns might be putting on a big charade to make other ponies believe that they can still fly. So yeah, I am quite interested to see just how that's going to play out in the next over the film.
Yeah, that's interesting what Nico's just put there, saying about Kimiko Glenn is obviously she's half Japanese, which I can kind of see that from her. We'll probably get like a point where she speaks Japanese a little bit in the film, like, I don't know. But I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think it's a good idea on their part to to cast someone who is got Japanese heritage in them, because it is massive in Japan. Gen 4 is massive in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, they've literally created their own like official mascot for the pony side of things, and it has done really, really well in Japan. So it kind of makes sense, kind of having a half Japanese actress in there to kind of represent the Japanese fan base in a way.
Yeah, it's ultimately, I think there's a lot of plans. Silver Comet, is the book says they pretend, but it was never suggest that the royals are deceiving their audience. Everybody knows they do not have magic, it's just for sure. Using cable to simulate flying. Yeah, I read about that much, Silver Comet. So, interestingly, if it is in pretty much set up in the film that everybody knows they can't fly, they're just doing it for sure, well, that's quite an interesting thing. I think the whole part of the film is definitely going to focus on bringing back the magic of Equestria, which again flows back into this whole picture that's showing up of a Alicorn Sunny, so an official toy as well. It's Alicorn Sunny. So if Sunny becomes an Alicorn at the end and all magic returns, does that mean she's going to become the next, princess of Equestria?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, like I say, I mean, like there's a couple of the characters, like Zip, for instance, who can't fly. Obviously using cables and things like that to simulate it. It's kind of like, I generally think that they will possibly have magic within them, but they've obviously been raised to believe they don't have magic, so they've never really practiced. Because a lot of the magic ability, like with Gen 4, it's part of their culture. It's part of them from generations.
Yeah.
It's like them being young. That is all they've known, is how the world's works is through magic use and magic abilities. So it's kind of like with this world, it really does kind of depend of how long the duration time gap is between Gen 4 and Gen 5. It really does kind of make you think that in order for the ponies of that generation for Gen 5, how long has it been for them to kind of not think about and the world to be drastically changed and no magic used? So in order for that to be a generational thing, which it obviously is with these new characters, there would have had to be a healthy gap. So I'm just intrigued with it, really.
But you're just taking into account Silver Comet statements that Sunny's Alicorn mode is likely rainbow power, her wings working like sunset shimmers, phoenix wings, her horn like midnight sparkles, glowing horn. So yeah, ultimately it could just be the power of friendship manifesting itself. But yeah, that'd be interesting. And then in response to Gary P regarding the flying Pomeranian, yeah, it could be possible that the magic in the world only affected the ponies as gone, but everything else is as normal. And as I mentioned, what's with all the unicorn hybrids, like the unicorn rabbits and the cats? What's all that about? I'm curious about that as well.
Yeah, I generally think the animals will already still have magic abilities. I generally think the animals will still have that instinct. I just generally think the pony characters have generally just been kind of been brought up in a bubble. I generally think that this film's going to involve that they've been lied to for a long time, and I generally think Sunny and her friends probably kind of figured that out. I generally think that's probably what could be where their journey starts, is that they kind of have like an essence of that, something's not quite right. So when they go on their mission or their adventures, it's kind of like they find more and more information out, and then they generally, I think, by the time the end of the film, they probably can use some magic. because there's textbooks. Like Sunny always has that journal which looks like Twilight's journal. You see that in one of the images that Izzy, she has her horn. She has like a tennis ball on her horn, which could be something to kind of stop her from using her magic.
That's assuming she can use magic. We don't know that. We don't know that yet.
But with her being a unicorn or whatever, you just maybe think that obviously unicorns did have magic abilities because of their horns. So we just don't know. Silver Comet, I guess that the return of magic would be rather uncontrolled bursts of magic going randomly, giving normal animals the powers of ponies too. Just like how it happens in the Equestria Girls specials with the leaks from the statue portal giving powers to random things. Yeah, quite potentially. It could well work that way. Or maybe they come across the elements of harmony.
Yeah, potentially, yeah, they could. I mean, there's been some talk about that as to whether or not they would still be existing within the universe, within the Equestria worlds,
I think they will do, because the elements of harmony are kind of like ancient stones, ancient gems, and they've been used for countless generations. Like when Celestia and Luna were young, they used them to, in the fight between them and Discord, to imprison him in the statue like they did. So it's been used. It's been used, and they are like ancient and like a legend in themselves. So I generally think the elements of harmony will possibly still be around, but they might be under like royal guard protection.
Probably.
Maybe they're being held in some. Maybe the Queen Haven, maybe in her castle or whatever. Maybe she's got them under lock and key. Who knows?
Yeah, it's quite possible.
Who's a queen or somebody who's in some sort of royal decree or something like that will probably have much more knowledge of that kind of stuff and how magic worked, because but yeah.
Yeah, that's it's quite possible. Right, I know it's only been a short one, about an hour, but we're only really testing this out, and there's still a few bits and pieces that we need to sort of do with this software to get it right. As you can tell, me and Nosy are quite angled upright, so we're all a little bit weird, but
very much not right.
No, but as I said, it's only going to be an hour, so we're going to sort of wrap this up now. I know it's been a short one, but it has been good to finally have both of us on and get to talk to everybody. As I said, we'll be doing a bit of fiddling around in the next few days, getting the software sorted properly. Then no doubt we'll be back to you next week, next Saturday. We'll do a proper live stream, and we'll have everything sorted out properly. So we'll be more synced up better and just look better, and we'll do it properly, because this was really just a test. But yeah, it has been fun, Silver Comet. It's been great. So, Nosy, do you have anything to say before we end it for the night?
No, I just want to say a huge thanks to everyone in the live chat again. Silver Comet, Gary P. We've got Ian Landers as well. Algemis, Nico. Anybody else? Darren and Kraman and that one. I don't know. Sorry if I just messed up. And Alpha Swell. So yeah, thank you to everybody that has joined us in the live chat and asked us things. Yeah, so thank you. And I mean, like, it's just on an end note, very interested in the news and the cast, and really looking forward to what could happen once it finally releases. So thank you again, and we'll be back hopefully next week with another one, and hopefully it won't be all jumbled up like this one. Blame Sam. It's Sam's fault. It's not my fault that the audio didn't work beforehand. If Sam says anything about that, it's a lie. But I
know it was all Knowles' fault, but we'll discuss that in another day as to why it took us an hour to sort out the audio due to an issue with Knowlesy. But that's a story for another day.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've not done anything wrong.
Right, anyway, guys, thanks very much for tuning in and joining in the chat. We'll have another one next week. We'll see you all next Saturday for a proper live debate about everything pony related, and maybe even more G5 news. But from me, Sam, bye bye. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Nosey, anything else to say?
No. Thanks to everybody that joined us, and we'll be back next week, hopefully.
Aye. Right. See you all later. Bye guys.